Hello everybody, and welcome back to Let's Build with Mods. Now in this video number 2, I've moved it to Sanctuary, where it is a beautiful day right now, meaning if it isn't raining or a rad storm, it's not a beautiful day. So anyways, what I want to do here is I want to touch on a few things that Let's Build with Mods 1 didn't explain very well. The first thing is the configuration. Now, Snap and Build has two ways to do it. One is, of course, through the Pip-Boy, as you can see that I'm doing here. Now, each way does exactly the same thing. It's just two ways to actually do it. There are 5 choices in Snap and Build, 5 styles. Now, if you'll bring up your workbench, your work mode, and go to Resources, then scroll all the way to the right to Miscellaneous. It should be around the 3rd item in this row. Now this is a configuration tool, which is actually pretty cool. And as you can see, we access the same styles as the Pip-Boy showed us. It doesn't matter which way, once again, they both do exactly the same thing. So it doesn't matter. Now what I've done is I went ahead and chose the floors, and we're going to go into the foundation blocks, and I'm going to disable A style and I'm going to disable B style. And as you can see, A says 0, B says 0. So now when we access the workshop again, those styles will not be available to us. Only C, D, and E. Now in that style there are 4 different styles that you can choose from. In other words, C will have 4 things. It will have a foundation, a stair, a 45, and then there'll be a quarter block. There may be a quarter stair as well, which would make it 1 extra. And as you can see, there's C, there's D, there's the 45, the steps for D, there's E, and as you can see, there was no A or B. So only things left now are the C, D, and E. And yes, I was right. There are some quarter-sized stairs. Now we'll just access it real quick. Go back down to the foundation styles, and we'll reactivate A and B. And as you can see, A says 1, B says 1, as well as C, D, and E. And when we access the workstation again, those items will now be available to us. I don't believe there's a way to disable the entire section, but why would you want to do that? They're pretty easy to maneuver around. It's just each section usually has quite a few subsections, and them sections have quite a few subsections as well. I think totaling a little more than 1,400 items. And as you can see, they're all back and ready to build with. Okay, now on this part here, what I've done is I've laid out quite a few items so we can see how they stacked or didn't stack. Now, these first ones right here, the hotel floors, some of them did stack. There is another section of hotel floors that had some pretty cool styles, like this one. It would not stack. It actually sinks inside of other items. Now, I couldn't get it to sink into this floor, but here in a second you'll see it sink into the foundation itself. Now, this will be quite useful in some of our builds where we might have a floor to repair that has a hole in it or something. Now, the vault balconies, they did stack. You could build a snapping tool with that. The upper floors in the same category did stack, but this is as far as they stacked. Then it quit. So you're kind of limited to what you could do. Now, the quarter floors that are 32 units and 16 units, they will not stack on top of one another. Once again, they sink inside. And I'm trying to get it to do it here, and it's not, but you'll see shortly. Bam, see, there you go, sinks inside. So therefore you couldn't build a snapping tool or stack them any at all. Now in the metal roofs, some of them did stack a little bit. Once again, it's limited. This is an upper floor shack. It did stack this high. After that, that's as high as I could go. The Institute floors stacked perfectly. Great snapping tools, as well as the balcony floors. But these have lights in them, so kind of useless to build a snapping tool with. Now in the wood section, some of these floors did snap fine. These ones here did, but these ones did not. They wouldn't turn green on top of one another, so I couldn't even get another board to highlight green. Now in the glass section, the floors did snap pretty decent. As you can see here, you could build some kind of a snapping tool with that. These particular floors did snap as well, but these ones snapped pretty good for about 4 layers, but then the 2 top ones started doing weird stuff and we didn't get anything to snap there real good. So not viable for a snapping tool. I tried to use some of the angled ceiling pieces. They did stack on top of one another, but not real well, so we really wouldn't be able to make a very good snapping tool with those. Alright, that's just a quick rundown on how some of these do stack. Now on this part here, what I've done is at Nordhagen Beach, on the build I'm building, there was a reason why I put 3 32 unit blocks at the top, and I'm going to try to explain to you why. Now first of all, I've built a snapping tool and I've snapped some of these blocks to it so you can see how they snap in there relative to the snapping tool. Now if you do every other one, then you get it tight like the first that was on the right, but this one was every 2. And with every 2, you get just that little bit of gap in between them. And you can see here how the 32-inch or unit snaps to the board, actually kind of in the center. And we'll buzz around here to the side again real quick and look at the other side, so you can see how I went every other one. If you go every other block, then this is how tight you'll get them. They'll overlap each other. But if you go every 2 blocks, then the black blocks, 32 unit blocks, will be what you get. That little bit of gap in between them. And there you go. I'll pull one out and you can see just it's about as thick as a regular floor there that I used to build the snapping tool. And once again, you can see it sinking into the floor. That's going to be super useful when we repair floors. Okay, now for this part here, I'm showing why I did the 3 units at the top, or the 3 32 unit boards at the top of the glass build. First of all, it is set up to go with a wall, a 32 unit floor, then another wall, glass wall, then a 32 unit, and so on. And when you got to the top, it would be flush. But if you're stacking it for a multiple high room, multiple story room, then when you get to the top, you're gonna be off. And as you can see, I'm off by about 3 of those 32 unit boards. So that's why I'm using a layer of 3 at the top at that build. Now I'm just going to move things around here a little bit so you can kind of see how they still would snap and fit in. I'll use a 32 and then place the glass back in it. It doesn't really change other than I've added the floor in. So now it's a 2-story instead of a non-floor 2-story. And I could continue that process right up to the top, and I would still be off by those 3 32 unit boards at the top. And I'm going to go ahead and show you that you can throw in a regular board as well from multiple styles, and it would still work out the same. It just wouldn't have the big old thick wall look or big old thick floor look. And see, it's a much tighter, much thinner look. But you would still have the gap at the top of the build. Now it takes me a second to get this going, but I'm going to show you what it would look like if you built it properly. And we'll take the upper one and we'll put it up where it should go. It will snap to the wall. I actually had previously snapped them to themselves. So there's a couple of places you can snap it to. And there you go. Now you can see the gap in between the glass. And this is where the 32 unit board or floor would come in handy. Fills that gap up nicely, and you are flush at the top when you get finished. Okay, well, I'm sorry that this video was pretty short. I just wanted to touch on a few of these building ideas, so that way when we continue on, you have a little bit better idea of how this stuff works. I'm still experimenting with it as well. So, until next time, guys, thank you. Enjoy and stay safe.